water was so nice there. I could live there for the rest of my life. Hello, my treasure. Welcome back to another video. And in today's video, we're gonna have a look at my visit to TeamLab Planet. There are actually two TeamLabs, but I went to the Planets one because that one had a water experience. So last minute, we decided to actually do a TeamLab Planet visit. And because already a lot of time slots were taken, we went there during the midday. And because it was, of course, a very rainy day, it was a very nice day to do a indoor activity. So from Ikebukuro, it's around an hour by train to get to TeamLab Planet. And it is very close by Odaiba. So you can actually combine these two activities if you want to. We didn't combine them because we already went to Odaiba, but we thought, you know, let's do this cool experience. So once you get to the station, you already see the TeamLab Planet logo on the big building. And you also already see the queuing area there. So on the queuing area, you see which time slots are permitted to queue at that time. Because you order a specific time slot that you can enter the building. So you stand in line, you wait a couple of, well, I think we waited around 15 minutes, and then you enter a room where they explain a bit about how this experience is going and that you need to take off your shoes and also take off your socks, and that there are also areas there where you can look under people's if they are wearing skirts, and that you can also get their free complimentary shorts if you are wearing a skirt, because people can look up your skirt, which was very funny to hear, right? So people were giggling actually when that was explained. And after the introduction video, you go into a very big locker area where you can put all your stuff in the locker, and you can also take, of course, your mobile phone with you, but all your other stuff you can put in the locker there. And there's also a place where you can put your umbrella because it's very rainy there. So we also had our umbrellas with us and we could store our umbrellas there separately. And once you are done with that, you enter the experience. So on your naked feet, you enter a corridor which is bluely lit and it's zigzagging all the way, and already some really nice smells come towards you. And it was very relaxing because I had already done a lot of walking on the other days. This felt really relaxing. And there was like a very nice soft carpet there. Then after that part, you enter the water part. And then you enter a part where water flows and you need to walk through the water. And you see at the end of the corridor, you see a water shower, and it's very relaxing, and the water is very nice temperature. You do need to hike up your pants a bit high because it's not, you know, like your whole feet are immersed in the water. And at the end, you get an explanation of what this artwork symbolizes. It's called the waterfall of light particles at the top of an incline. And I'll show here now the complete explanation of that art piece. And it was just a very relaxing experience, but it was an experience where you had to just go through, right? So you could not stand still there, you had to walk through it. And then you enter an area where you can dry off your feet. So there are towels there and you can dry off your feet. And then you enter into the next room. And that room is, again, this is not a wheelchair friendly art exhibit, but you enter a room which is a very cushiony type of room. If you have ever been to jumping facilities and you have the foam pit, well, it feels like you are walking on those foam blocks, and it's completely black, and also the walls are made out of that soft foam. And then you had to walk from one end to the other end. one of the things that I found very sad because it felt very cushiony is you are not allowed to lie there. You need to walk through that area as fast as possible because the staff was really pushing you, like, you need to walk, you need to keep walking, you need to go to the next room. So the experience in that room was kind of hurried actually, which I found very sad because it felt really nice underneath your feet, especially after you've went through the water and walked over the carpet. It was very sad that that experience was very much hurried. But after that room, you come into the most beautiful room I have ever seen. It's a room where you have LED lights coming from the ceiling and hanging around you, and there's like a pathway which you can walk, and these LED lights change colors depending on the sound. It just gives you a very magical feeling. You're walking actually on mirrors, so you see both. So everything feels very grand when you look at your feet, and it's just a magical experience. You really do feel like a princess in that room. So here is a short impression of that room, and like I said, it's brilliant. And then after, I don't know, I spent half an hour in that room. It was so magical. So after you are finally done in that room, so you're not rushed out of that room, which I found very nice. So once you're done with that room, you go again into a zigzag type of room where there is a carpet. It's now red. So when you first started, it was blue, and now it's red. And then you walk into a water area, and that water area is very deep. Actually, it's almost knee deep, and the water is so warm and nice, and there are these reflections in the water of koi fish, and it's called the drawing on the water surface created by the dance of koi and people, infinity. And it is so beautiful. So there are fish swimming, well, projected fish swimming around you, and you can interact with them, and they then disperse all over, and there's this big light show happening there with the music, the warm water, and the projections. You feel very lighthearted and very spiritual. Even though I'm not a spiritual person, it gave you that spiritual feeling. And there's even a moment when all the colors collide and it becomes very bright. That is the most beautiful part in the whole of the projections that you see. So here is some experiences that I did in that. And then if you can get yourself away from that magical place, I mean, you've been to 2 magical places already. If you can drag yourself away from that, you go again into a corridor. This one is now a bit more purple, and then you go into the next room, which is the expanding 3-dimensional existence in transforming space, flattening 3 colors and 9 blurred colors, which is a room filled with spheres, gigantic spheres. And some of these spheres you are actually allowed to push. And if you push the spheres, they also change colors. And this room, I spent way too much time in this room because it was just so much fun in this room. You could lie on top, well, not per se on top, but against the spheres. You can push the spheres towards other people. And the whole light effect of all these spheres really gave you a kind of like cozy environment. Because if you were, you know, like in between all of these spheres, you were like, oh, I'm trapped, but I'm not trapped, because the spheres feel very soft. And you can get the most gorgeous type of Andy Warhol pictures in there, because these spheres change colors very, very fast. So here is some experiences that I had in this sphere room. If you can drag yourself away from the sphere room, which was very hard for me, you enter another area. And that area, oh my gosh, it's even prettier. It's called Floating in the Falling Universe of Flowers. And it really does feel that you are in space and flowers are floating all around you. There is beautiful music playing at the background, and also the smell that you have in that area really takes you to that other world. And especially if you lie down and you're lying down on mirrors, it feels like you're being engulfed with flowers. The only downside about this experience is the sound of other people. And let me explain this very well. It's the sound of screaming and crying children, because the room is very dark. And if you have seen the other rooms are much more lighter, except of course for the foam one. But the other rooms are much better lit. This room really does feel that you are in space, and it's much more darker, especially when there are not the big flowers flowing over you. It is a much darker room. And there were a lot of people with small children there. And I can understand that this really does feel like a scary room for kids. Parents were trying to enjoy the scenery, whereas kids were already done. And I can understand this, right? Because if you just left the sphere room where you could actually push the artwork and do stuff with the artwork, going to this room for a kid is, I'll be honest, either scary or boring for them. So they want to move along. And because parents want to experience this room, you get screaming kids, and that takes away from that experience. It would have been nice if they would have put a warning there that this room might not be the best room for smaller children, because there's not a lot to do. There's just a lot to hear and see. And me also having, of course, kids, I know that the attention span, especially of little kids, is very short, and whenever it's really dark, it tends to not grab their interest. They like bright stuff. So maybe they should have stayed longer in the sphere room, because that was an amazing experience also for smaller children. Then once you are done with that, you can go to the outside garden. And in the outside garden, you see this kind of alien type of eggs, which really felt weird. And I was like, okay, yeah, it was cold also. And they also said, you know, you can put on your jacket if you want to. But I don't know, it was really a downer compared to other rooms. And then once we went past the alien shaped things, we came into the flower room. And actually for the flower room, you had to wait. And this is the room where there are real life hanging flowers, which go slowly down and kind of like engulf you in those flowers. And it is very pretty. However, again, just like with the foam pit, you are hurried there. So you stand in line and then only a select number of people can go in there. And then the other people stand in line there. And then people have to, after a couple of minutes, you are shooed away again. And yeah, you cannot really experience this flower room. I understand that people find this a very nice room. I would have loved to stay longer there. The smell of the flowers was amazing. And just being engulfed by these flowers felt really nice. But like I said, it was very much hurried because the next group had to come. And that felt a bit sad, especially because we had other rooms where you could experience the artwork much longer. Was the end of TeamLab Planet. TeamLab Planet is shorter than TeamLab Borderlands, which I'm gonna go to in August. Hopefully I can find a time slot in August, because apparently that is more wheelchair friendly. But I wanted to experience this also, the water and the flowers. I heard that some rooms are also there in TeamLab's Borderlands, so I'm really curious to find out which rooms are also there. I think the LED room is also there, and maybe also the flower room is there, but I don't know. What did you think of TeamLab Planets? And if you're visiting Japan, are you also gonna visit it? Or are you gonna say, no, I'm gonna go to the bigger one, the Borderlands one? But yeah, thank you so much for watching. And as always, I say, miss you, love you, bye-bye.